Welcome to Night Freaks, where we interview DJs, producers, nightlife industry workers, and everyone in between. You can find us on Instagram at night.freaks and Spotify and YouTube at Night Freaks. I hope you enjoy this episode and please keep listening. Yo, what's up, everybody? Night Freaks back with another video. Today we are super excited to sit down with Adrian Rivera, a DJ and producer known for his signature deep minimal tech sound that's been making serious waves in LA and beyond. You might have caught him spinning at Blind Tiger's night shift or playing back to back with Joe the Pro at Tell Your Friends, or holding it down in San Diego at Bloom Nightclub or Shipwreck Fest. He's also released tracks with Angry Dog Records and has been steadily building his name that stands out in the scene. We're going to get into how he got his start, the evolution of his sound, some of the wild gigs he's played, and what's next on the horizon. Adrian, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Man, that's a super sick intro. Thank you, bro. I'm great. How are you? I appreciate you for having me on, man. I'm super stoked. I got to see your last episode a little bit, and it seems like you're doing great, man. I'm really excited to be on.
Hell yeah, bro. Thank you. Yeah, we're excited to have you here too. You know, just chop it up for a little while, get some more insight into your life, your production flow, like how you came up and a bunch of stuff like that. So we'll jump right into it. How did you get into this? Like when you first started DJing or when you first started listening to electronic music, stuff like that. Like what was that like? You know, were you younger? Were you older? Kind of let us know how that came to fruition.
Yeah. So in high school, I was definitely more into like R&B, hip hop, and stuff. I didn't get my introduction into all of this dance music until I got to go to Lollapalooza in 2019. At the time, I had a friend. He introduced me to a whole bunch of dance electronic artists at a specific stage. Even Lollapalooza has it now currently. It's called the Perry stage. It's really kind of dedicated to EDM, and at the time, I got to see Rufus Du Sol, Flume, R.L. Grime, Alice in Wonderland. These are, really big introductory names to get me into like a whole bunch of different sounding music at the time that what I was listening to. It wasn't really until college I was able to get into more of my niche of like house music and what I was into more with all the friends that I got to meet. I had a roommate at the time. His name's Harris. He was really kind of locked into all this, production and stuff. I had no idea what he was doing, and I was just a roommate to him, like kind of peeping over his shoulder, watching what he was doing. He introduced me to a whole bunch of other friends that were kind of more in depth. They had, decks themselves, and it wasn't until then I got to go to shows with them, share experiences with them, and really kind of open our eyes to this whole kind of world of, DJing and, curating music for vibes, for people that want to listen to music, go out to house parties. We were able to throw house parties for ourselves in Arizona, and that really kind of stood us out from, the R&B parties, those hip-hop parties that people were going to, and it's like, it really kind of motivated us really to keep going, and at the time, I was a senior, and most of my friends were a little younger, so I ended up living off campus, graduating and then living off campus in Arizona. So at the time, I did have a roommate, and we were kind of grinding on local gigs and everything that we had. We were motivated by our local support that we were meeting at shows. For example, we'd go to Rawhide at the time, Relentless Beats. We'd throw shows at Shady Park, places like that. We were able to, meet artists in a very like intimate like level, and it just motivated us. And at the time, it felt like it could never end until COVID happened. And so, yeah, I guess when that really happened, I was able to take everything really seriously. I was able to motivate myself to dedicate it to the craft. A lot of people were kind of taking time off for themselves, and then I felt that if you really are dedicated to something, you can really just put your time and effort into it. And I mean, I had all the time in the world being stuck in my room, and so felt as I could get better at DJing, I just put my time towards that. I would practice for myself, put up mixes, and gave me a lot of motivation to send that to friends. People would vibe to it, and then as soon as everything kind of came back from COVID, I was finishing my senior year off, and the clubs were opening up. Everybody that was throwing like underground raves, we were kind of in connect with those promoters that were throwing those desert raves and stuff. And so at the time, we were able to get like startup gigs when everything would come back. And this is all just when, like, while I'm out in Arizona. I got the chance to move out to LA for a current job that I'm working, I work as a digital archivist, like scanning old blueprints and set designs and whatnot.
Word.
That's my day job, and so I had to move out to California for that. Uh, at the time, not really having too many friends with music and whatnot. Uh, I got to indulge myself in a whole bunch of different afters and kind of figure out what was my really favorite, especially being influenced with all the people that I knew in Arizona. Minimal, more underground music was kind of more my niche, and like as soon as I found Blind Tiger, it wasn't really to where I realized that like most of the people that I kind of am enjoying being around were at that club, and like I got to spend my time, dedicate my time to specific nights. Shout out to Venetian. They had like different curated nights. It'd be Venetian. It would be called Night Shift. It would be called Ritmo for like their Latin tech and whatnot. Yeah, it was super cool to be kind of a part of a bunch of different styles of like house music, but they were separating them, and it was still all curated. So I ended up just sticking around, meeting a whole bunch of people, and that just broadened my network, just starting from LA and
No,
growing.
for sure.
So
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. You mentioned Arizona. Where were you going to school out there?
yeah, I went to Grand Canyon University.
Word.
Yeah, I went to Boston for a semester of college, my freshman year. That ended up being way too cold. I went for D3 volleyball, and I transferred to Arizona, and that ended up being just more my speed. I love the weather. It wasn't too far from home here in California, just a 6-hour drive.
Yep.
And it ended up working out. I met all my friends that I met, and it just felt like home, a second home.
No, that's fire. And you were mentioning like during lockdown and stuff is when you really, started driving a little more and just pushing a little more to kind of make this something that you could put your name to and more career wise and stuff like that. So was your production something that followed your DJing and stuff? Where you just like, hey, like I love doing this, but can I make the music, or was it reverse? Were you producing before you were DJing?
So this was when I met my roommate at the time. I was a junior. My friend named Harris. He introduced me to a whole bunch of other friends. I can go by list. Braden. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of the main person that I honestly know that really kind of motivated me and ended up being a roommate like with me after I graduated. And so it was kind of him and I was motivated by a whole bunch of other friends that we knew mutually. Gio, Casey, who else am I thinking of? Pierce, Jimmy. All these people were grinding at music. They DJ for local clubs, and we'd go out and support. And then it wasn't until they ended up starting picking up, producing, and it kind of started out. FL Studio was kind of the
Yep.
stepping stone into production for a lot of my friends. And it wasn't until you kind of feel yourself taking it more seriously, you end up stepping up to a bigger DAW, Ableton or Logic, whatever you're feeling, whatever you feel is more your learning curve. And yeah, it was really kind of picking up a routine and picking up that motivation to want to take the next step. I ended up producing a year after I started DJing. I started on FL, and I was producing on FL for about 3 years. I was a kind of stubborn person, to be honest. I felt that I was spending a lot of money on plugins, man, that you think
Yeah, bro.
to like help your sound out, but really there are other ways of getting around, like thickening your sound, making it sound more cohesive to what you're playing out, live. At the time, I would love to play my music out live, but dude, to really kind of put ideas down was difficult on production. And so it wasn't really until I ended up moving out here to LA. I got my desktop set up kind of right here. I ended up switching over to Ableton, kind of getting past that whole learning curve, and it felt like I was kind of starting all over again. But for the best, I after that I was able to really kind of find my sound. I was able to release from the labels that I've released on, and it's pretty motivating. Being able to have people believe in your art, believe in your music, and it's dope. Only encouraging for me to continue making music and keep putting
pushing.
it out.
Yep,
Yeah, so,
for sure. And when you started, did you used to perform under the name Dream? Is that right?
Yeah, so
Okay, so what brought the switch from that? Because I was looking through and I was doing some research and I was like, oh, this is a good question right here. So what made you switch?
there there's a funny story, and there's also, I for myself, I see a lot of my friends. There is no kind of like barrier between artist and yourself. You kind of want to
Sure.
be your most authentic self, and it feels like you're able to, if you want to embody your name, have it, see your real name like kind of plastered anywhere is kind of the best thing to see. So in the back of my head, it was always like it would be cool to kind of switch to my name and have like a have that around. And I really never knew when that could happen. I always thought, switching your name and then announcing it's just a little cliche to me, because it's like, oh, well, we love it, and you're gonna get the support from all the people that love it, and for the people that hate it, you're gonna screw them off. But it's, I ended up getting the release on Beat Freak, and so I was sending out my email, and at the time my my email is my like production email, and so I was sending my email as Adrian Rivera, and so the day that the label released, they completely messed up my actual name, and they put all of the slides Adrian Rivera, and I was like, there's no way that they just dropped this without even running it by me and putting Dreen or whatnot, and I was like, this is a blessing and a curse. Like, I was thinking about this for the longest time, and like I'm like, to kind of put music out is the biggest statement without having to say that, oh, I'm going to change my name. uh, it really kind of took that off my shoulders, and it let me kind of let the music speak for it. I was just happy that the music was out. They messed up kind of writing my name out, but it felt like a whole new, like a whole new chapter that I was able to kind of come about.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the people that I got to meet, or I mean, after that, like they'd ask me out, or they'd ask me about the instance in person, and I got to explain to them. But yeah, funny story.
No, that's probably a funny story though, and maybe a blessing in disguise. If you wanted to go by your Adrian Rivera name anyway. So yeah, that's pretty funny though. But let's get more into like your prep for sets and stuff and like this stuff. When you're prepping, is there something that goes into your prep, or are you just more digging for more niche tracks and more minimal stuff, and then throwing it on your USB and just getting ready to go? Or are you more like, okay, this is gonna be like my intro for whatever? I know you play, like you were saying at Blind Tiger, you play 3 hours. So is it like, okay, this is gonna be like my first 30 minutes. This is gonna be do, or are you more like going off the vibes of the crowd, going off like what you're feeling? Like, what's your mindset when it comes to prep and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a bunch. With that question, I kind of like dissect it, depending on the time you're booked, who you're playing for. I'm very lucky to have the sound that I have and have people trust it, to where I don't have to kind of go out of my way to explain that I'm playing a different type of sound. I'm very grateful that a lot of the people know that I kind of know what I like, and if the kind of structure as to where I go, I end up thinking about how, if I were a fan in the crowd, at what time I'm playing, like what I would want to hear. And yeah, kind of go off that energy. I'm always kind of looking into the crowd, seeing what's working, what's not, being able to switch on the spot. But for the most part, it seems like every kind of every kind of hour of the night, how like a person in the crowd wants to feel.
For sure.
Take a break, especially. And so, yeah, I kind of just I'll listen to some sets, I'll get some motivation, and I'll kind of dedicate a curated amount of songs to a playlist that I'll make on Record Box. I'll kind of go from there, range it from like 30 to 40 songs. You're not going to play all of them, but you're going to play the ones that stick out or you remember listening to throughout the week, and you'll be able to kind of judge through there. And yeah, that's the best part, playing it live, seeing people's reactions, getting feedback. If it wasn't a good one, like switching over to the next one, how you're able to kind of switch it over quickly without them noticing as much. But for the most part, it's having fun, enjoying people's reactions of how you want to play. That's my favorite part.
Definitely. And what about like your workflow in the studio? Like, are you more sample based, loop heavy, or are you a lot of times starting from scratch with stuff? Like, what's your thought process there?
Um, when I was starting in the very beginning, the kind of big thing of producing is always referencing a sound that you kind of want to make. And that's kind of what I did for the longest. It wasn't until I was able to incorporate a lot of my own like sounds, I would kind of branch out and just have fun with it, really. Start 3 projects at a time and kind of just, put your creativity down no matter how it sounds. I never really kind of had a goal as to what a song is going to be. I'm always just throwing ideas down, taking things out, and if it comes out to be the way it is, or if I find like a particular song that I kind of want to like make, or if I have something that's already working, I'll end up just kind of restructuring what I have using the same kind of sounds that are already kind of laid out, because the format's laid out. All you have to do is kind of really arrange it into what song you're gonna make. And yeah, I feel like kind of going into it with no pressure is the best way, because if you're gonna go into it with, oh, I'm gonna make this song with this, and this, you might stump yourself at one of the points that you're not gonna be able to hit, and then you're gonna think that the project's done, or you think that the project's scrapped just because you're not able to get a specific idea down, or you're limiting yourself by putting things down rather than getting everything out and then putting it together however it comes together. No matter how long it takes, really. Like, you can't rush perfection. If, a lot of artists that love this stuff, I'm sure they'd be lying if they say they weren't perfectionists, because, I am as well. And you won't know until it's done, until you just stamp your name on it and just send it out. So,
Right.
yeah, I think that going into it kind of loosely, switching over from my laptop, because I used to produce on my laptop, and getting my whole desktop definitely took a lot off my shoulders, because I was able to just have this idea of making music and being as creative as I can at home, and like in
Right.
my most relaxed state. Like, I know a lot of my friends have everything on their laptop, and they would always be like, I'm gonna bring it here, and I'm gonna pull out my laptop, and I'm gonna throw some ideas down. And although that's a great idea, and you're not gonna let any idea go to waste, you're taken away from being present and being where you're at. You're on vacation and people want to produce. Like, that's awesome, but be on vacation, enjoy your life, enjoy your family, enjoy whoever you're with, the time wherever you're at, because that's where you're gonna get your motivation when you sit back down, producing, grinding on whatever you're on. So.
No, 100%. I think, like you were saying, like how you have your desktop set up and everything. Like, I think it's great to just have an area where you can come and sit down and just be like, okay, like block everything out. Every other thing that's going on in your life, and just sitting down and being like, okay, I'm gonna make some tracks right now, and that's what I'm gonna do, and just be focused on that. And then, like you were saying, vacation or whatever it is, like it does seem like a good idea, right? And like it sounds awesome, but when you really get to it, it's like, okay, well, am I like wasting my time here? Like, I could be doing this at home, kind of thing. And so I think that's a great take on it, and just being able to be somewhere where you feel comfortable and where you know your space really well, and you can just like pump your ideas out real well, and get them just strictly down, and really go from there. And yeah, I think that's a great take on it. But yeah, let's jump more into some of this Blind Tiger stuff. I know you've been talking about that. I know you're a resident over there. So how has that, playing for their night shift kind of parties, how has that helped your career and elevate you out here in LA?
uh, it's really kind of given me all the confidence in the world, really, to production, to stage presence, to networking, to being out in public, and just enjoying the nightlife. Um, when I first moved out here, and I was kind of navigating through the afters and finding what was my favorite. Uh, they were so welcoming, and it seemed like you were able to kind of chop it up with anybody that is in there. They're all really kind of in love with the sound that comes out of Blind Tiger. And so as soon as I figured that out, I wanted to join the club. It felt like a little family, and I got to see Binge Watch, I got to see Janessa, I got to see some other artists that were related to them, or like mutual friends with them from out in Arizona, like Avitas. And yeah, I kind of just put two worlds together. It seemed like a place I wanted to play. So as soon as I was able to kind of go to one of their open decks that they would have, they used to do it in a pretty crazy style where it was a 3-song rotation, where you would only get kind of 3 songs to prove that you knew how to mix and the style that you'd want to influence that they wanted or that they had. So I remember I would be waiting at school. I mean, at school. I'd be waiting at work all day, and I'd be thinking about the 3 songs I was gonna play at the open decks, and like it wasn't until then you get an opportunity to get like opening set, and from those opening sets, it changed into like playing different nights, playing later times, and I was just able to kind of give it everything I had every time, and they're open like 7 days a week, and so
Bro, crazy.
I remember getting some crazy set times like during the week, and still having my day job in the morning, and still wanting to make those sets. Me making them happen, and like going to work and making it all happen, and that's the best part of like you know embodying all of the stuff that's going on, is that like you can do it, and when people ask you like, oh, how do you do it, it's kind of it continues to motivate you, to want to do
Definitely.
better, like manage more. So it was always fun.
And I know you went to Costa Rica with the Blind Tiger crew. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like what that experience was like, how you got that opportunity and stuff like that, and just break that down a little for us?
Yeah, so Binge Watch, he had gotten the opportunity to play a opening party for House Hats. They did that off of the festival site. They had like a collaboration with the festival. It was called Ocaso out in Costa Rica. Binge Watch and some of the members had reached out asking some of the residents if they would like to join. We got Leslie hooked up with all of the stuff that was going on. And we got to play for a little bit, or well, we got to play for like our ticket, which was really dope. And that really kind of took the load off of us to join on the trip. We got to fly out there. We got to be out there for like a week. We got there, I think, the day before the festival, or no, the day before he had played, and we got to meet a whole bunch of people. It was crazy story. So Braden Terzo, he was on that lineup for that pre-party, and so I had gotten to see him again from out in Arizona, and it was a cool whole worlds colliding because
Right, little full circle moment.
Yeah, I mean, for him to be out there killing it, and killing it in his game, releasing music, and being all over the place, like all over the states and stuff, and then to be out in Costa Rica and see him there, see him with all my friends that I was doing music with, influential to say the least. The culture out in Costa Rica was amazing. Being out in the jungle, honestly, that's where it was. It was just wild. They put the festival in the middle of like a jungle. You had to take like a off-roading trip, like 20 minutes out to the festival. We got to see the Martinez brothers. We got to see Riordan. We got to see Chris Lake. Clooney was on that, along with friends from House Hats. Cut and Sew, they're a part of it, a part of House Hats, and yeah, it was just a cool experience and all, meeting people, experiencing the culture, listening to the music out there. They dedicate themselves to dance music, it seems like, a lot more than, the U.S. embodies like dance music. But the goal is to get to other countries and like experience all of this sort of dance music that we listen to and listen to every day.
No, for sure. And yeah, the culture out there is awesome. I've been lucky enough to go out there like I think two or three times, and yeah, the culture is amazing. It's beautiful. The beaches are pretty. The jungle's amazing, and it's just such an awesome place to be. But yeah, I'm happy that you got to get out there and experience that, because that's pretty crazy. But we met at a Tell Your Friends event when you were playing back to back with Joe the Pro. Do you play those Tell Your Friends events often? Was that your first time playing that? And then what's your dynamic like with Joe?
Yeah, that was my first event. My first event playing for them. The first event that I had gone to was the one before that, or two before that, because I know the week before that was their 1-year anniversary. But before that, my friend Guilty Pleasure, he'd gotten to play on the lineup, and I was there supporting. The vibe was amazing throughout the entire night. It seemed like they were picking up a lot of speed. I hadn't heard of them since that show, and it was already their 1-year anniversary that next show, so it was pretty surprising to hear them come out of nowhere. And congrats to them. They're doing amazing. That show that I got to play for them was probably the coolest show that I felt that I've ever played. The relationship with Joe, he's a great guy, man. He's been out in L.A. for I'm not sure how long, but I got to meet him right around the time I moved out to LA. We were on a mutual show together, and from then, we followed each other, supported each other mutually. It wasn't until he got to go to Ibiza, he put out a mix shortly after that it kind of resonated with me and the sound that I love, and I was like, this guy's got some talent, man. Like, and he's kind of hiding it, and he started getting into a lot of live production stuff, putting together shows as a stage manager and owning equipment and whatnot. He collected and started building his, kind of artillery of sound production equipment. He was able to kind of start up his own thing. He started up like Grupo Oscuro, and it seemed like as he was putting that together, he was curating, nights with, I'm not sure if his two other events that he had were collabed with anyone, but they ended up being really good events just because of his sound and the support that he had. And yeah, he had hit me up shortly after that 1 year event with Tell Your Friends, asking if I'd be interested to going back to back with him. And I couldn't turn it down because I was stoked of his sound. We got to practice on the equipment that he owns. I got to get a little hand at that V10. It's a nightmare. I had only one experience with it before. It was super dark in the club I was using it, and I had, it was a bad time. It gave me nightmares. Getting to practice with him really kind of built my confidence. And then as soon as we were like 30 minutes into our practice session, we knew that we had it. We knew that kind of what angle we were coming at, and it was really kind of nonstop. That's how it felt. Energy was unbelievable the entire set, and we couldn't be any more happier with how it came out. So.
Yeah, no, I remember that set, and you guys were just pumping out some heat, dog. That was a
Thanks,
fire set, and like you were saying, Joe always keeps those events super tapped. Like the production is always on fire. The sound's on point. He's just always killing it with that stuff, and yeah, he always seems like he knows exactly what he's doing and can just lay it down. But let's get a little more into like your style and your growth a little bit. So your sets have a pretty signature, dark, deep, minimal feel to them. How do you keep that sound fresh when you're playing these like Blind Tiger events, the night shift ones, when you have a lot of the same regular fans coming through? How do you switch it up and just keep people on their toes a little bit?
I think just staying a fan of the music, being an artist, being an artist fan. I love listening to sets. I love hearing what's coming out on any big label. I love hearing what's kind of the stuff I have to dig for, stuff that it's kind of finding feelers. I wouldn't know how to explain. Everyone has their own style. I appreciate all the styles that come in because it only makes me feel more confident to be myself. Everyone has their uniqueness to them. So being able to curate a set, pick out your favorite songs, and then just kind of embrace it the entire night or whenever you have 1 hour, 2 hour, kind of just being able to be yourself on stage. I think that's the kind of biggest thing. And I think just owning up to what you like and, knowing that that's not going to fail you, depending on obviously the show, you want to kind of stick to whatever sound, but I feel very lucky that, Blind Tiger has a sound shaped out, and I felt like I kind of stuck with that. I give a lot of credit to the friends that I had in Arizona, Braden, Gio, Nick, for them to motivate and always kind of like push towards digging, kind of finding the best kind of music. I felt like that kind of stuck with me in the entire time, the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years, at it to always just curate to what you like and then being yourself and being unique. It always works out.
No, definitely.
I hit a lot
No, man, no, I love it. I love when going off on tangents, bro. That's what we're here for. But so like I was mentioning at the start, you played Blue Nightclub and you also played Shipwreck Fest in San Diego. What was that like playing outside of LA? Do you have any more experiences playing outside of LA, and like how did that help you reach more people, reach a different audience, and kind of expand your your sound and your career as a whole?
Yeah, well, that Bloom show, Angry Dogs, shout out Angry Dogs, Banyan. They had a takeover at Bloom, and they had asked me. They were the show was for Tita Lau, a little more like Latin, like a little more minimal tech
For
house.
sure.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
He had reached out to me asking if I was interested in going back to back with anyone from LA. At the time, my buddy Amula Eddie was killing it. We had just had multiple back-to-back shows. We had a Christmas show for Blind Tiger, and it felt like it was perfect to ask him to back-to-back with me in San Diego just because of the momentum that we had and the style of us together. That we were really kind of killing it. Playing in San Diego, it was amazing. They do. Yeah, it was amazing. I loved the opportunity. The sound is amazing. We got to play in that little lounge, the lounge section of the club,
For sure.
not the main room.
Yep.
But the lounge section was pretty cool. They have like photo ops. People are just hanging out. They have like couch chairs. So I mean, people are enjoying your music no matter what. That felt like a great experience. I'd love to go back. I had also gotten to play for Spin nightclub. That was a pretty cool opportunity. They had reached out to me over Instagram. They had like a local night, which kind of confused me because I'm not local to SD. But I had opened for the night, so it wasn't much of a big deal. Playing at Spin was amazing. I first got to see Walker and Royce there, so it felt like a full circle moment getting to play there. And yeah, Shipwrecks. There was a contest going on for Shipwrecks. It was pretty crazy. They had reached out via DM, which was kind of hectic to look back at it now. But they'd reached out over DM. They were asking if you were interested in joining a contest, and it was the most tickets won in this contest. You were able to play for the longest set time.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so they had reached out to a really good amount of people among the LA and SD area. The people that were able to honestly sell the most tickets were able to get the opportunity. Very luckily, I came in second place and got the second best set time within that. And I mean, it was crazy. Being able to go to that fest, it was very well curated. I had gotten to play, I think around like 7 o'clock, around sunset time. It was a really cool opportunity. Some other LA people, the Rave Bays, they also got to play at the same time I did, and we love them, man. They're amazing. So congrats to them to winning at the same. They ran 3 channels, so there were like 21 DJs throughout the entire event that played on like ABC channels. So yeah, there were a lot of people that were going up against. But
yeah, no, that's a lot.
Really dope,
so you mentioned a couple labels. What's your connection with Beat Freak and Angry Dog?
So my connection with Angry Dog, Banyan, the head of that label, he was actually out in LA one time, like going to a Blind Tiger open deck. He was one of the first people in line. I think I was on that lineup, and I was just going to be there to support the night. I seen him in line, and I was like, "Oh, you're here early." It was super cool to get to talk to him. He told me that he was in charge of Angry Dogs, and it wasn't until then that we got to chop it up a little more about what he did musically and stuff. He told me about his label, and we had sent music back and forth for a little while, and we finally found a project to kind of come together on. And he had a show down in in Mexico that he wanted to kind of hype up more, and we had a few tracks that were kind of ready to go and release, and so he kind of decided to want to release our songs right before that event, and we ended up just putting our music out. And so I got to meet him just the night before Blind Tiger, and it kind of bloomed into what it was. And then he invited me on to shows down in San Diego, and our relationship keeps growing. I keep wishing him luck with all the stuff that he has going on. They're in Arizona now. They're continuing to throw events in, hopefully, up here in LA. And yeah, I've had him here out doing back-to-backs, and hopefully get him out here again soon.
No, that's awesome.
I think I've gotten to play, at Avenue. They've had shows at Avenue in San Diego, so that's been pretty cool. And yeah, I think, so Beat Freak, I think a friend I had actually met in Australia, we were just sending music back and forth to each other. I was really into his music. I put one of his songs into one of my mixes, and from then we kind of built a relationship on, music and everything. I had seen he released on a label called Beat Freak, and I had looked at the following of the label. It seemed like it was just starting to grow, and I was hoping to kind of shoot music out to there. And the label head got back to me, was really interested in my music, and from there we were able to kind of put my songs out. But I think that one was kind of through a mutual friend, seeing him release on the label. I just kind of got motivated to put my music out there as well.
Nice. And do you have any upcoming collabs or label drops that you're excited for? Anything you can tell us about right now or anything like that?
Nothing that's coming out right now, nothing that's planned to come out. I'm still producing all my music right now, finding what's going to kind of sit with me the best.
Right.
And that's, I'm motivated to get something out pretty soon. Everything's kind of coming together, but yeah, I just got a couple shows lined up, but other than that, I'm still kind of creating.
Cool. And what's your thought process on like self-releasing, because like SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Discogs, all this stuff, like you can drop a bunch. What are your thoughts on that? Are you more like I'd rather sign it to a label, or are you open to just like throwing it out there and seeing what the people think?
I think self-releasing is honestly the best way to kind of motivate yourself to just put your music out. People get in this label kind of tunnel of wanting to obviously put their music out and get it recognized and then get the promotion that the label is going to help you out with. But if you're able to have what the label is going to give you at that point, that makes it 10 times better. Have the confidence to just release your music, have the confidence to make your own promo, have the confidence to receive all the feedback, especially because not everyone's going to like your music, and then really kind of work through there. I think that will only give you a tougher shoulder to like hit all the obstacles in the way when you kind of want to go through it later. It's like exposure therapy in how I was looking at it. I was always super scared of getting my music out. Blind Tiger would you have these old nights, they were called Nexus, where you would be able to go and test out your songs. They'd have really big artists come out like Kaysen, Freak On, really close friends of Binge Watch. They'd also have Anada. They'd come speak on the tracks that were being played in front of people. We'd all be lounging, hanging out, and you'd get to share your music, and you get feedback from some of the biggest artists that were playing in LA at the time and are continuing to grow. So with those opportunities, I felt like you're able to kind of grow with your production and everything. It felt like a really cool kind of stepping stone to getting better for a lot of people.
No, for sure. No, that's actually really cool. I never heard of that. That's crazy that they did those events and stuff. That's great for people that are trying to come up and kind of just like you were saying, get that feedback and see what's working, see what's not working, and how you can just make it better. That's really dope. Where do you see like your sound headed in the next years? Are you gonna try and stay kind of in that minimal lane, or are you trying to explore other genres? Like, what's your thought process there?
I think that a lot of stuff is working for me right now. I get motivated from a lot of UK artists, like Josh Baker, Prospa, Ben Sterling, artists that are not in Spain. I'm really Brazilian. These kind of countries that are putting out the sound like that. I just feel like being a fan of it all, and sitting down with no pressure. It kind of always comes out the way you want to in the end. And you'll be most confident with that. I feel like if I'm able to be confident about my music and put it out and people, receive it well, I think that will only kind of motivate me to keep going. If they don't like it, it motivates me to keep going,
Yeah.
So it's just, I feel like it's a gift that keeps on giving. You never know what you're going to get. And that's the best part. So I think within the next 5 years, if I'm able to keep my sound, if I'm able to keep pushing this agenda that I have and, be myself and people love it, then I would be blessed to continue going at this. So
awesome. And right now, kind of in the LA underground, what kind of scene inspires you most? Like whether that's a collective, whether that's a party, whether that's an artist, label, who are some people or some collectives that you're seeing right now that are just really doing things really right and are just proper?
Yeah, I'm inspired by all my friends, for one. Everybody that's keeping at their goal while also keeping everything going on. on their daily life. That those are going to be my number one motivators for sure. I also think collective wise, I think Inland Group is doing amazing. Tell Your Friends is doing amazing. Shout out to Eddie that is running that over there. Jacob and Serge and all those boys in Inland. Tell Your Friends. We have Irving Legend, and they also got a couple people on there as well, helping them out. But I mean, I think collaborative heads and people that are able to work with them, work with each other. You can only go. The sky's the limit. So
Yeah.
motivating them to keep going, man.
And more on kind of the LA underground. What do you think the scene needs more of, and what do you think the scene needs less of, if anything, right now?
More people rooting each other on. I mean, we always see it. Everyone's always in each other's comment section, motivating. I think we need more of that in real life, not always stuck to a phone. I know people get timid and like wanting to share their congrats, but it's not how it should be. A lot less gatekeepers, people that want to kind of hide what's going on, hide knowledge, because the platform is big for everyone, big enough for everyone. And I believe that. I will push that 1,000%. Yeah, I think that if you're able to motivate the people around you, you're going to be rewarded in ways that you don't really kind of even know, that are not in front of you, but will kind of unravel themselves as you build relationships with people. So just being yourself, we need more of that.
For sure. And do you feel like right now, or do you feel it's harder to break through the scene, like the DJ scene, the production scene, because I feel like there's so many different parties and stuff, but also there's so many different DJs and producers, and it seems like everyone is trying to make it in the scene right now. Do you think it's harder now or easier now than when you were, really pushing through and really starting to make connections and find gigs that you can build residencies at and stuff like that? What do you think about that, and kind of the scene of someone who's just kind of starting out or is producing music and has tracks and really wants to get out there? What do you think about that?
I think it might be a little harder right now just because of the amount of people that are doing what they want to do. People get motivated to want to pick up the decks when they go out to a party. Say you're not really into music, you see someone killing it on the decks, you see how much attention they're getting, you're like, dang, I kind of want to be in that position. So it's like that everything a part of that is possible, because that's how I felt at Lollapalooza in 2019. I was like, damn, there's no way that somebody can do that. But if you take the time, you kind of really kind of craft what you are doing towards what you want to do. Your time, it takes up all of your time, takes up your headspace. It's gonna give you headaches, all of this stuff. I think that if people are dedicated to want to do this stuff, I give them all of the support to do that. It's just tough because everybody's doing it, and a lot of the clubs are going to curate their sound even tighter rather than like more loosely to just have a DJ on. I mean, you can probably hear the clubs that will kind of just blindly book a DJ, and then you'll hear that, and you'll get the effect from the not so good set. But once you're able to kind of fine tune what you're into, and open form, there's still options of open format. It's not just dedicated to house. So it's like, if people are picking up a new thing, or if they're picking up music, branching out your knowledge into I guess just not limiting yourself to a specific thing, unless you're trying to go in that route. Learning as much as you can will help you in the end. I think that's kind of.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think just having a plan, and in the last interview I was doing with my buddy Max, he was really talking about just really having like a long game approach to everything, and just being the last one standing, and really pumping stuff out and continuing to stick to your ethos and how you want your career to go and how you see the trajectory of your career going, and just really like putting your head down and sticking to it no matter what, because obviously there's going to be hard times, there's going to be good times, not really getting too high, not really getting too low on that same aspect, but just really, sticking true to what you want to do and pumping out good tunes and going to good parties and just really networking and meeting people and progressing, because at some point, you're bound to break through, or you're just going to stop. Like it's one way or the other. And yeah, if you stick to it, something good is bound to happen. But let's get in a little more of your production workflow again. What are some plugins that you're just like you love, you can't live without, and are just really stuck into your workflow, if there are any? Or are you more jumping around, using different plugins, learning new stuff? Like, what's your thought when it comes to that?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of motivation from my friends and plugins that I've got. There's this plugin called M Rhythmizer. It's like a arpeggiator plugin. It'll basically chop up whatever you put into it, which is super dope. I mean, endless creativity comes out of that. I'm able to kind of throw in ideas, and it spits something back out at me, and then I'm able to kind of go from there. And so it's really a helping hand. Serum 2. It seems like that is definitely taking a lot of the stress of sound design and like
Definitely.
kind of the structure of how everything goes. It really kind of gives you all the tools to work with. So I've been loving working with that. Yeah, there's this new, or not new plugin, but new to me. It's called Sting. It's like a bass line generator.
Cool.
And I'm really into like acid bass lines right now. So I've been just hammering all my production songs with that, and it's been sick.
Yes, bro. You got to send me some of those tracks you've been working on too. I definitely got to peep into those. Listen to what you got cooking up. But yeah, I'm we're just about closing up here, but I got some fun questions that I want to ask you. Just a couple things that are more lighthearted and fun. But what's one track that will always stay on your USB?
One track that will always stay. Vida Loca is the artist.
Okay.
And the song it's like a but then you're trying to keep it cool. I can feel it in the beat. You do something to me. And nothing stop you.
Hey man, that's all I need to hear right there. I know it's a banger.
It's it's a banger. If you guys look up the song, that's
you're gonna have to send that one to me too, bro.
yeah.
What is your favorite venue that you've played so far?
Sound with Blind, man.
Nice.
They got to give me the dopest opportunity. Amazing people have played out of that club, and to get to open up a night for Blind with one of their takeovers meant the world. I get to see so many artists that run in and out of there. It just motivates me to get back in there, play amongst those artists that I look up to. So yeah, I think sound is definitely the number one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they just did another event there. What was it, last week? Yeah, and we met there. We met up there and stuff. And yeah, I just remember talking to you and being like, because I'm a huge Night Bass fan. Shout out AC Slater. Shout out Night Bass. But they really were just pumping through there. Like, what was that? Like 2015 up until like even like a year ago, 2 years ago. Like they were really playing there all the time. So that's always been a super like meaningful club to me. It's always had a spot in my heart, just always seeing so many people, like you were saying, go through there and really just play there. And yeah, that's a really awesome opportunity that you got. What's a dream venue that you could play in LA or just anywhere in the world?
Dream venue. It's a good one, man. Spy Bar in Chicago would be a cool
Nice.
one. Playing in Chicago would be really dope, man. Origins of House, playing at any of those clubs, I think they're dedicated to, putting on a good show, like booking really dope artists. Number one also as well, in Miami, at Floyd nightclub, at Space nightclub. Those would be really dope as well. So I think, yeah, top three clubs.
Okay. Right, and then I got a lot of dream questions for you here. What would be your dream back-to-back?
Dream back-to-back. Any artist?
Yeah, anyone. Dead, alive, doesn't matter.
I think Ben Sterling. Yeah.
Nice.
Ben Sterling, I got to see him at Camp EDC when him ripping with Beltran and whatnot. He had to take over Planet X. Yeah, amazing.
Was that this last year, this 2025 EDC, or was that before?
Well, so he played Camp, I think 2 years ago, and
Okay.
then by himself, right after Joseph Capriati,
Oh,
and then he
so
also,
fire.
dude, amazing. I think actually he played before Joseph Capriati because I remember it getting crazier. But yeah, so he played then, and then yeah, last year he had his takeover at Bionic Jungle with Planet
Okay.
X.
Oh, dude, that stage. Oh my God. When I think it was because I didn't go to EDC 2025, but the year was it 2024. I saw that they put the stage, and I was super excited to see Odin and Fatso.
Mm.
And when I went, I was just like, "Oh my God, this is the dopest stage! Like, just super intimate vibes, super tight, and just yeah, I had a blast at that stage. It was awesome."
Was that when it was on the right side?
It was
It was
like right to the left of what is that? The guard? No, not Neon Garden, but it's that huge stage. That's like it's like it has
the
all
first.
the green. Which
It's
one
like
is
the
it?
first one you go. It's like
Yes,
when you
right when you
go.
walk down the bleachers or whatever it is. It's
Right.
not Kinetic Field because that's main stage. I forget
Cosmic
what it's
Meadows.
called. Yes, Cosmic Meadows. That's it. And it was right to the left of that. If you're looking at Cosmic Meadows down the bleachers, it was right to the left. And I remember I was like, so I just decided that at this EDC because a lot of my friends, my rave fam in Arizona are big like bass heads. They love, dubstep, rhythm, all that. And I'm like, I'm down. I can get down for sure. But I love my house. I love my techno. I love my minimal stuff. So I was just like running around by myself, whatever. And I was sitting up in the bleachers. And I think it was Skin on Skin. I heard Skin on Skin playing in that little stage. And I was like, dude, what is this thing? And I like made my way over there, and I just ended up staying there for like 3-4 hours. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like Skin on Skin, and then Eats Everything, and then Odin and Fatso. And I was just like, oh my Lord, what are they doing to me at this stage? I just couldn't leave. But yeah, that was a great experience for me. I was just like, holy cow, this is awesome.
Sweet, man. I mean, those are the experiences where we're able to look back on and keep going. Like those are what we need every show that we go to just you
Build and
know.
build and build. But do you have any like crazy stories that you remember? Just like something that sticks out from a gig or anything where you're just like, damn, like that was crazy and you'll just never forget
Yes, uh,
it.
dude. So yeah, man. I think if you have a set. Okay, so I'm just gonna. This is just like a preach. I'm preaching to the choir. If you have a set and you don't got a back-to-back scheduled, don't say yes. You don't always have to somebody that wants to get on the decks because one, it's not their time. They weren't recognized for whatever, you were scheduled for what's going on, and that's what's going on. I think that I've allowed people to, I'm a very nice person. Uh, until otherwise proven, I don't, I shouldn't believe that you're gonna, mess up something. I'm
For
like, hey,
sure.
I trust you. You're asking me. You feel obviously confident enough to ask me to hop on decks. I'm gonna give you a shot, as I would want a shot. If I felt as crazy enough to ask somebody that was spinning.
Gotta be out of your mind, right?
So, dude, it's gonna be crazy. I mean, I told a lot of people this story, but I had one that opportunity to play for Iglesias's closing party. Oh,
Okay.
well, not closing party. I'm sorry. I was closing for Iglesias. It was for the Farmhouse show. Uh, Someone came up and asked if they'd like to go back to back, and I was, very nice to let him on. Didn't realize how intoxicated this person was, and it started kind of going south. Iglesias was just not 10 feet away, tearing
Oh,
down his set, listening to what was going on, and they had picked a set winner for this. Um, and he'd asked me, and he's like, "What's going on? Like, this is your set." I'm like, "Dude, I'm only kind of being nice right now." And yeah, it was just a little kind of wake up moment for me. I had let kind of someone take the shine on an opportunity that I had, and I felt like I could have done that a lot better. Put a better name on for myself. in that moment. But no, it was an amazing opportunity to play closing for Iglesias. The back-to-back didn't happen too long. I let her be on her way, but no, I got to finish the set. It was an amazing finish to a set. But yeah, I think that if you got a set, don't always say yes to a back-to-back. I think that I learned my lesson that night, and it was pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you always see people in the crowd like with their USBs. I swear, everyone just decides that they just think someone's gonna be like, "Well, DJ didn't show up. Like, who's got their USB?" kind of thing. So that's hilarious. And I always think it's so crazy when people like if it's a house party or it's just something like that. Maybe like okay, if it's just the homies or if it's like an afters at someone's house or something chill, yeah, maybe like ask. But if it's like a real event that's going on, that's scheduled, people are paid, people are booked to be here, and you're asking to go back to back, like you just gotta be out of your mind a little bit. Like that is just one of those things where I like look at people and I'm like, do you have a brain, dude? Like what are you thinking here? Like if you want a set, you gotta work and you gotta get that set. You know what I mean? So that's hilarious. But I got a couple more questions for you. Who are a couple lesser known DJs in the scene right now that you think are doing something really special, really proper, and are definitely making their way up and about to break through the scene a little bit?
I'd like to give a shout out to my boys, Austin, David, Guilty Pleasure. Some of my friends that don't, play out, live. My friend James, he's making music kind of just behind the scenes when, a lot of us are motivating him to, step out and kind of put his stuff out there because he's making some sick music. Some people out from Blind Tiger, my boy Gabby, he's killing it. He's got the right head on. I got to meet him out at Electrofest in Norco.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think, who else can I think of? The homies 719. I think the boys that are like doing that District 909 stuff, Jello as well. People that got collectives locally, I give them all the support because it's hard staying motivated, staying at what you're doing because everybody else is doing it. So it's like we were like you said, just to do it when the days get harder because it's only going to pay off like in the long run. So
right.
Give all the credit to those boys.
Okay, and for any up-and-coming DJs in LA, what's one piece of advice you'd give them? Maybe something that you just think of now, maybe something that someone's told you that you wish you knew earlier, just something that you could give to someone that's maybe listening to this podcast who's really trying to break through and just needs a couple tips.
I feel like I sound like a broken record with being yourself, but I think that pays off the most. Knowing what you're into, knowing what you give off, knowing, not your place, but where you're wanted, where you're celebrated. That's always the best place to be rather than feeling like you're kind of left out of positions because, you're discouraged in those moments. You want to feel your best when you're going out. You want to be around the people you feel best around. So I feel like when you're in those positions, everything kind of grows from there. This is, just speaking out of experience, but people might find comfort in uncomfortability, being places they, aren't, they like, being known. So they'll make it happen. They are the doers. And, I think being in a place where you're kind of surrounded by love, I think that's just the kind of best way to go.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good way.
Yeah, and that uncomfortable or comfortable being uncomfortable thing is like definitely something too. That's something that I'm definitely dealing with right now, because I just moved here like coming up on probably 2-3 months. And a lot of the times like I'm going to these events by myself, which is something that I'm not really used to, like from raving out in Arizona. And, I'm from San Diego originally, but I went to school out there. I got a bunch of homies out there and stuff. So it was a lot more regular for me to be out with a crew, whether that's like 3 people, whether that's like 10 people, whether that's 20 people, you know what I mean? But just almost having people that I would see out and like I would know people or, I'd go around and I'd obviously see people that I know from a friend of a friend or whatever it is. So being out here and going to a lot of these events, like it is something that I definitely am getting better at and just trying to, talk to more people, get better at, whatever the networking thing is or, just kind of trying to meet friends and make friends that, you can see yourself working with later or see yourself going out with and stuff like that. And so that's something that I'm definitely dealing with. Hey, shout out everybody. If you see me at events, yo, come say what's up. Come say what's good.
Yeah.
I'm a nice dude. I'm kind of shy, but come say what's good to your boy. So
No,
yeah,
bro.
that's definitely something, and like being comfortable, being uncomfortable, getting out there and meeting the people, and then ultimately finding like a group of people that you are really comfortable with, and you're happy being around, and like you were saying, like just being somewhere where you're appreciated and where like you have a lot of friends who want the same goals that you want and want to see you being successful instead of having people around you that are kind of like trying to pull you down to pull them up. Like, I feel like you do see a lot of that these days, like where people are just not like backstabbing, but almost like envious when people are doing maybe better or taking higher steps in their career faster or whatever it is. You see a lot of that where people might get frustrated or might get upset with their friends or friends of friends that are making waves when they think they should be making the waves. And I hate to see that, and I hate to see people, putting each other down. And like you were saying, it's just one big community, and there's room for everyone at the top. So just progressively, like being happy with where you are, being going out with people that you're comfortable with and you have a good time with and stuff. And yeah, I think that's really great, and I think that's great advice from you. But yeah, last thing, tell the people what you got coming up. Tell them how they can come out, how they can support you, where they can find you, anything. Just this is your time to go promo.
Yeah, man. Go support your closest friends, your favorite artists, man. I don't got much planned other than like a couple weeks. I'm going out to. I mean, this will probably come out, but I'm playing a beach show this Saturday with my girlfriend. Shout out Coda, Kirsten. She's amazing. We're going back to back. But I'm just working on music, man. I feel like it's a long haul with stuff that I'm ready to put out. I want to really make sure it's the best. I'm just going to continue to get motivated to find labels to send my music out to, figure out what I want to put out by myself, go to shows that I'm motivated to go to. I'm seeing Rufus Du Sol in Indianapolis
Hell yeah.
on the 3rd. I think that's the Sunday that's going on with Hard Summer. But yeah, man, I just am going to my favorite shows, trying to find motivation, putting music out. And then opportunities seem to come out of that. So I'm always blessed to accept whatever, is coming my way. If you want to, catch me, I'm always out supporting my homies at In the Groove, Blind Tiger, Tell Your Friends. They're all doing amazing. So love to continue to support them.
Definitely. Well, I just want to say, thank you for coming on, spending some time with us, giving some insight into your life as a DJ, producer, and just your thoughts and how you operate a little bit. But yeah, thank you very much, and yeah, I hope you had a great time.
Yeah, man, this was amazing, bro. Thank you so much.
Of course.